Would you marry someone you barely knew just to save the only home you ever loved? The red dust of New Mexico territory clung to everything that summer of 1875. It settled on the ranch house, on the horses, on the thirsty cattle that moved slow across land, turning to dirt and bone. Cole Walker stood on his porch, watching his herd try to graze where no grass grew anymore. His jaw was tight, his eyes were tired. The drought was beating him down, and the bank planned to finish the job. Jimmy Hendricks, the youngest ranch hand, came riding hard from town. His horse was lathered in sweat. The boy jumped off before the animal even stopped moving. "They're coming, Mr. Walker," Jimmy said, gasping for breath. "Banker, Morrison, and the others. They'll be at the ranch before sunset." Cole didn't move much. He'd learned long ago that big news kept its weight, no matter how fast a man ran to deliver it. He opened his pocket watch. 3 o'clock. Maybe 3 hours until everything he had was taken from him. "How many?" Cole asked. 5, maybe 6. And Deacon Hale is with them. Quote. Cole's jaw tightened. Deacon Hale was the worst kind of man in New Mexico. He hid cruelty behind scripture and looked at suffering like it was something he had the right to judge. He'd wanted this land for years. "Get the boys in from the range," Cole said. "Tell them to come careful but armed." Jimmy nodded but didn't leave. He swallowed hard, like he had something stuck in his throat. "My pa says maybe there's a way out of this trouble," the boy said. "Says the territorial law protects family land if the owner is married. A married man with a proper home can't be forced out." Cole rubbed a hand over his face. "Your pa's been reading law books again." "Yes, sir, but he's right. If you had a wife, they couldn't take this place." Cole's voice went quiet. "I buried my wife 3 years ago." "That's the thing," Jimmy said, lowering his voice. "There's a woman just come to town, staying at the boarding house. Folks don't like her. They say she brings bad luck, but that's just talk. My pa says she's desperate enough that she might consider a business arrangement." Quote. Cole turned to face him fully. "You telling me your paya thinks I should marry a stranger to save my land?" "Not marry for love, sir," Jimmy said quickly. "Just marry because it helps both of you. She gets a home, you get to keep the ranch. Temporary-like." "What's wrong with her?" Cole asked. "If the town's women won't talk to her, something must be wrong." Jimmy looked down at his boots. "They say she brings misfortune. Came from Texas before New Mexico. Every town she passed through had trouble. Drought, fever, fire. They blame her. But that don't mean it's true." Cole looked out over the land his father built. The barns, the fences, the wide open fields. His father had fought harder things than a drought to keep it standing. Now a banker and a piece of paper might take it all away. "What's her name?" Cole asked quietly. "Clara Rose." Cole closed his watch and made his choice. Hours later, he rode into Cedar Springs. The town was dusty and tired, same as everything else in the territory. He tied his horse outside Patterson's boarding house. "Mrs. Watrimpeden." Patterson sat on the porch, her face pinched in disapproval. "She's inside," the woman said before he asked, "though I don't know why a respectable man would waste words on the likes of her." Cole didn't answer. He stepped inside the dim parlor, and there she was. Clara Rose sat near the window, her back straight, her hands folded in her lap. She looked young, maybe 21. Her dress was worn but clean. Her dark hair pulled tight, though a few strands had escaped. Her eyes were green, sharp and watchful. But what struck him most was the quiet pride in her face. A woman used to being judged and refusing to bend to it. "Miss Rose," Cole said. She turned, studied him, and nodded once. "You're Cole Walker, the rancher who needs a wife." He blinked. "Word travels fast. When you're desperate, you listen carefully," she said. "And I am desperate." She stood, nearly as tall as him. "Let's speak plain. You need a wife to keep your land. I need a roof that won't burn me out or chase me off. We can help each other." Cole was surprised by her honesty. Most women wrap their words in softness. Not Clara. "Town says you bring bad luck," he said. Her laugh was cold. People blame storms on whoever they fear. I've been in towns during droughts and fevers because poor folks always are. Trouble finds everyone. They just chose me to blame." He looked closer then. Saw the hunger in her cheeks, the careful stitching in her dress. Saw strength too, more strength than many men in Cedar Springs. "It wouldn't be a real marriage," Cole said quietly. "Legal, but nothing more." "I understand," Clara said. "All I ask is a room, work to do, and safety from the foolishness of others." She met his eyes fully. "And in return, Mr. Walker, you keep your land." "I will do my part." Cole's throat felt tight. He wasn't a man who made choices quickly, but time was gone. Morrison was coming. "Can you ride?" he asked. "I can learn." "Can you shoot?" "Enough to hit what needs hitting." Cole nodded. "Then let's go find the judge." They walked out together. People whispered. Some pointed. Some crossed the street. Clara kept her head high, like someone who had learned to walk through storms without lowering her gaze. Judge Hawthorne married them in the saloon, between his whiskey glass and a losing hand of cards. Tom Hendricks and Jose Martinez stood as witnesses. When Cole slid his mother's ring onto Clara's hand, her fingers trembled just once. Outside, horse hooves thundered. Morrison and Deacon Hale were coming. Cole helped Clara onto a horse. "Ride with me," he said. "I'm your wife now," Clara replied. "I'll ride anywhere you need." They left town with the sun sinking behind them and dust rising around them, and for the first time in years, Cole didn't feel so alone. What do you do when the whole town believes your wife is a curse? The dust was still settling when Morrison and Deacon Hale rode into the double-bar ranch with their men. Cole stepped forward, keeping Clara close beside him. He had expected trouble, but he hadn't expected the fierce steadiness in her eyes. Morrison dismounted first. His voice was sharp with anger. "You think marrying some stray is going to save you, Walker?" Quote. "Careful," Cole said. "You're talking about my wife." Hale rode closer, his thin face twisted with self-righteous judgment. "Mrs. Walker," he said, his voice dripping poison, "tell me, ma'am, how many towns have suffered since you passed through?" Clara stood tall. "Trouble comes to every place, Deacon, but you already know that. You just prefer blaming someone instead of fixing anything." A few of Morrison's men looked uneasy. Hale glared at them but said nothing more. Morrison lifted the marriage paper angrily. "This won't protect you forever, Walker. We'll be watching. One crack in this little arrangement, and we'll take the land." "We're done here," Cole said. Morrison rode off with his men, and Hale gave Clara one last hateful stare before following. When they were gone, Clara let out a long breath. Cole looked at her. "You handled yourself well." "I've had practice," she answered quietly. Inside the ranch house, the place still carried the scent of his late wife. Her quilt, her china, the rocking chair she used. Clara walked through the rooms with calm respect. "You can use anything you need," Cole said. She shook her head. "I'll make do with my own things. I won't replace another woman in her own home." Her words touched something deep in him. That evening, Clara made supper from thin supplies, beans, and a few wild onions. Somehow she made it smell better than anything the ranch had eaten in months. Cole sat at the table, surprised by how hungry he suddenly felt. "You cook well," he said. "I had to learn. When you're alone, survival teaches you plenty." They ate in silence until Clara softly asked, "How bad is the debt?" Cole hesitated, then told her the truth. "More than I can pay. If we don't get rain soon, the herd won't survive." "And the banker?" she asked. "He wants the land more than the money. Hale wants it too." Clara thought for a moment. "Then we don't give them an inch." That night, Cole couldn't sleep. He heard Clara moving softly in her small room, organizing what few belongings she had. Her presence filled the silent house with something he hadn't felt in years. Life. Just past midnight, Clara stepped onto the porch and found Cole sitting there. "You always stay up this late?" she asked gently. "I like watching the horizon. It tells me if weather's coming." She joined him. Her hair was loose, falling over her shoulders, making her look younger and softer than before. "It's quiet here," she whispered, "sometimes too quiet." Clara leaned on the porch railing. "Cole, I know the town thinks I'm cursed. I know their looks, their whispers, but I won't let that ruin this place." "It isn't your fight," Cole said. Her voice was steady. "It became my fight the moment I said, I do, even if it was only business." Cole felt something shift inside him again. An ache, a pulling, a wanting he hadn't felt since before Sarah died. "You're stronger than you look," he said, "and you care more than you pretend." He opened his mouth, then closed it. Clara smiled knowingly. The next morning she cooked breakfast for the ranch hands. Real biscuits, real coffee. The men looked at her like she was some miracle dropped from the sky. "This is the best food we've had in years," Jimmy said happily. Clara smiled. "Then you were starved for more than food." Cole watched her from the doorway, fighting the warmth rising in his chest. His wife, by necessity and paper, fit into the ranch like she had always been meant to be there. Later, she insisted on going to town for supplies. "That's dangerous," Cole said. "You heard Morrison. You heard Hale." "I won't hide," she said firmly. "That only makes their lies stronger." He sighed. "Billy goes with you." She agreed. But when she came back that afternoon, her shoulders were tight and her eyes were sharp with anger. "What happened?" Cole asked. "Nothing I haven't seen before." Some turned away. Some muttered curses. Someone threw an apple. I didn't flinch. She lifted her chin. "I won't be run out again." Later she told him she wanted to learn to ride properly so she could help on the ranch. Cole tried to argue. She didn't let him. The next morning she stood in a split riding skirt she had sewn overnight. Jimmy whispered, "Boss, she looks like trouble." Quote, "No," Billy said. "She looks like a walker." Clara climbed onto a gentle mare with nerves but determination. When she slipped once and fell against Cole, his hands caught her shoulders. Warm, steady, lingering. "Sorry," she whispered. "Take your time," he said quietly. He didn't let go right away. The days passed, and Clara worked harder than any man on the ranch. She rode, she learned, she pushed her limits, she laughed when she made mistakes. And the men began to admire her, protect her, defend her. Cole watched her every step, watched her grit, watched her kindness, watched her fill the empty rooms of his home and the empty corners of his heart. But danger found them again. One morning, while Clara helped herd cattle to the north pasture, a gunshot cracked across the land. Her horse spooked, nearly throwing her. Cole reached her in seconds, grabbing the reins. Then they saw the riders, Deacon Hale and half a dozen armed men. "Walker!" Hale called. "We have a proposition." Cole's jaw set. "Say your piece." Quote, "We've gathered money to buy your wife a one-way ticket out of town," Hale said. "Take it, send her away, free this land from her curse." Clara rode forward before Cole could stop her. "How generous of you," she said. "Tell me, Hale, did God approve this charity?" Some of Hale's men shifted nervously. Clara wasn't done. "The drought started before I came. The sickness, too. But you'd rather blame me than admit your own failures." The men murmured. Doubt moved across their faces. Hale snapped, "She twists your minds. She brings ruin." "No," Cole said, moving his horse beside hers. "She brings strength." And in that moment, Cole knew it. He wasn't protecting her. She was protecting him, too. "Leave my land," Cole said, his voice cold, "and don't come back with threats." As they rode away, Clara's bravado faded. Her shoulders sagged. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I've brought trouble to your door." Cole touched her hand. "Our door." Her eyes softened. For a moment, she looked like she might cry. That night, she sat across the table from him, her voice breaking. "Tell me truth, Cole, do you want me to leave?" His chest burned. "No," he said. "I want you here." "Why?" she whispered. He didn't answer, couldn't answer, not yet. But her eyes said she already knew. Her heart was getting out of hand. His was too. What happens when danger closes in? Just when love finally feels real? The morning started quietly, but the peace didn't last. Billy came running from the east pasture, breathless and pale. "Boss," he said. We found 5 dead cattle near the creek. Foam at their mouths. It's poison. Cole felt the bottom drop out of his stomach. Someone did this on purpose, Billy added. Clara closed her eyes for a moment. She had seen this before. Too many times. Towns blaming her, while the real danger worked in the shadows. By the time they hitched the wagon to go to town for supplies, rumors had already spread. Clara rode with Jimmy, her face calm though her hands trembled. People stepped out of her way. People whispered. Mrs. Morrison and 2 other town women approached her with tight mouths and angry eyes. Mrs. Walker. Mrs. Morrison said sharply, "Terrible news about your cattle, though not surprising." "Oh?" Clara asked softly. "Do you believe I poisoned our own herd?" "Every place you go, trouble follows." Clara stepped closer. "And did I cause your husband's failed investments last year? Or the drought? Or the heat? Tell me, Mrs. Morrison, does the sun rise because I wished it? Do storms come because I snapped my fingers?" Mrs. Morrison blinked, taken aback. Clara lowered her voice. "Fear makes fools of us all, but I will not let you make a fool of me." With that, she climbed back into the wagon. Jimmy stared at her in awe. "Ma'am, that was something." "It needed to be said," Clara replied, but the trouble wasn't done. As they rode back toward the ranch, black smoke lifted into the sky. "The barn!" Jimmy cried. Clara dropped the reins and ran when they reached the yard. Men were throwing water buckets, trying desperately to stop the flames. Cole was in the thick of it, his shirt burned to the edges, sweat and soot streaking his face. Clara joined the line, passing buckets as fast as her shaking arms could manage. They fought until the fire finally died. Half the barn was gone. All the stored winter feed was destroyed. Cole stared at the smoldering ruin, shoulders heavy, voice empty. 6 months of hay, he whispered. Gone. Clara stepped to his side. "We'll find more." "With what money?" Cole asked. "With what goodwill?" "The town won't sell to me now." Clara swallowed, then said the word she feared. "Cole, if you want me to take the money and go, say it. If my being here puts you at risk." He turned sharply. "You think I want you gone?" "I think I bring you trouble." "You bring me strength," he said. "But I am afraid. Not of you, Clara. For you." Her eyes glistened. "I don't want to leave. Not now. Not ever." Cole reached to touch her face, but she stepped back, her voice breaking. "You still hold me at arm's length. Tell me, am I your wife or just a piece of paper?" She didn't wait for his answer. She turned and walked toward the creek, tears falling silently. Later, Jose found her sitting alone. "He pushes you away because he is scared," Jose said. "Not of you, of losing you." Clara whispered, "I'm tired of being feared by the town, by him." "Then tell him so," Jose replied. "Some men need truth spoken plain." That evening, Clara stood in the kitchen while Cole watched her from the doorway. "Clara," he said, "we need to talk." "Yes," she said, "but first you need to listen." He sat, she faced him, her hands trembling. "I married you to survive," Clara said. "You married me to save your land. Those were our reasons. But something changed." Cole's heart thudded. "I've fallen in love with this ranch," she said. "With the work, with the people, with the sound of cattle at sundown. And I've fallen in love with you." Cole's breath caught. She continued, voice steady. "I know you didn't bargain for that. Neither did I. But I won't apologize for how I feel. And I won't pretend. This is just business. So you tell me, Cole, am I your wife in truth, or just a contract you regret signing?" Silence filled the room, thick, heavy, waiting. Cole stood and walked to her slowly, like approaching a skittish colt. His voice was rough with emotion. "The first night you were here, you looked at the stars and said it felt like you could fall upward into them. I hadn't looked at the stars since Sarah died. But that night, I did. Because of you." Her breath hitched. "You want to know the truth," he whispered. "The thing I fear most isn't losing the land. It's losing you." Clara blinked, stunned. "You didn't break me, Clara," he said. "You woke me up." He lifted her face gently. "I want a real marriage," he said. "I want you, all of you, if you'll take me after all my foolishness." Instead of answering with words, Clara kissed him. It was a claiming, a promise, a breaking open, and Cole held her like he never meant to let her go again. But the danger wasn't finished. Billy burst through the door. "Boss," he said breathlessly, "riders coming, half the town, Hale leading them, some are armed." Clara's hand tightened around Cole's arm. "This is what happened in Los Cruces. The accusations, then the fire, then the mob." "Clara," Cole said, gripping her shoulders, "we face this together, for better or worse." She looked into his eyes and nodded. "Together." They stepped out onto the porch as the mob approached. Deacon Hale rode at the front, his face wild with fanatic fury. "Walker!" Hale shouted. "Hand over the woman! We'll take her away and leave your land in peace." "She has a name," Cole said. "Mrs. Walker! My wife! And she's not going anywhere." "She brings ruin!" Hale screamed. "Disease, fire, death!" Clara stepped forward, voice calm. "The only ruin here is the hatred you spread, Hale. I didn't poison the cattle. I didn't burn the barn. But someone did. Someone who wants this land." People in the mob hesitated. Faces softened. Doubt crept in. Hale snarled. "She twists your minds. She clouds your judgment." But Tom Hendricks rode forward. "She didn't poison anything," Tom said. "And I'll tell you something else. My boys saw a man running from the Walker barn before the fire, running toward Hale's place." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Hale's face twisted. "Lies!" Another voice shouted, "If she was cursed, why did she save little Sarah's life last winter when she was burning with fever?" Another added, "And she helped my wife deliver twins." The mob was breaking apart. Turning on itself, Hale, panicking, pulled a rope from his saddlebags. "We'll take her ourselves." Cole drew his gun. "First man to touch my wife dies." Then something unexpected happened. Clara laughed. It wasn't madness, it wasn't fear, it was strength. "A rope?" she asked. "Are we testing witches now? Should I float to prove my innocence?" A few people snorted, then more. Soon half the crowd was chuckling awkwardly. Hale screamed, "You fools, she's cursed!" "No," Clara said, her voice rising like a bell. "I'm just someone you were told to fear, but fear doesn't make truth. And superstition doesn't make sin." Tom raised his rifle. "Sheriff's coming tomorrow. He'll sort this out proper." Hale's power crumbled. One by one, people lowered their weapons. Some apologized. Some simply walked away. Others told Clara they were sorry for how they'd treated her. Hale stayed last, shaking with rage. "You can't protect her forever," he hissed. "We don't need forever," Cole replied. "Just until the law gets here." Hale retreated into the night. The danger finally passed. The crowd dispersed. Clara leaned into Cole, trembling with aftershock. "You're safe," Cole whispered. "You're home." The next day, the sheriff arrived, and the truth came out. Hale and Morrison had hired men to sabotage the ranch. Poison, fire, lies. Both were arrested. Town opinion shifted fast. Where fear once ruled, respect began to grow. Weeks passed. The ranch healed. Clara healed. One night, months later, under a soft spring sky, Clara stood with Cole, watching the stars above the Double Bar Ranch. "I used to think love was a luxury," she said. "Something other people earned, not me." Cole slipped an arm around her waist. "You earned everything," he whispered, "including me." Clara smiled. "Then come here, Mr. Walker." Her kiss stole his breath. Her kiss broke him open. Her kiss built him new. And in that moment, Cole Walker knew the truth. Marrying Clara had saved far more than his land. It had saved him.